All right. Bear with me 1 second. All right, Israel, shalom. Yahweh Shema Shabbat the Thumb, Yahweh Shema Thumb Bashim Shah, Recent Officer 1000, you die holding it down to 12, Shield General Muhammad gets here. Now, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. I mean, if you got any questions, you know what I mean, holding for General Muhammad. You know what I mean, make sure you type them in the chat. You know what I mean, type them questions into the chat so when the general gets here, he'll be able to get to them, break them down. But now, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. It's a lot going on right now on the earth. Main thing is the monkeypox. We got to realize, man, the Lord is telling us, black man, Latino man and woman, First Nation and Seminole Indian man and woman, that the Lord does not want us to be homosexual. The Lord does not want you to be gay or lesbian, a part of the rainbow community. The thing is, man, the Lord has a hell of a way of letting you know that you're not supposed to be doing this. And it's called monkeypox. It's called HIV. It's called AIDS. And the thing is, man, as blacks and Latinos, we should have saw when this plague came and started hitting the oppressor over there in Italy, in Spain, and all of Europe. You should have took that as a sign to understand and say, all right, man, the God of Israel, the God of blacks and Latinos does not want us to be homosexual. And now we read an article on Blackwise last Monday that the monkeypox now is disproportionately targeting blacks and Latinos. Goes to show you, man, we're not supposed to live that lifestyle. And I can show it to you in the Bible. Again, if y'all got any questions, type them in the chat. Young man, Devontae, give me Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13. That's what we got to realize, man. You keep living that lifestyle, and guess what? Y'all went from wearing mask on your face, now you're going to have to wear a mask on your ass, on your rear end. Like, come on, you know what I mean, Officer Don Yala? You know what I mean? You have to get something, get a mask down there. Get a monkey butt or something to get down there to prevent to stop the nonsense and the madness, man. Goes to show you ain't supposed to live like this, man. And I'm gonna show it to you in the Bible, Leviticus chapter. Go ahead.
If a man also lie with mankind.
If a man also lie with mankind. I mean, if another man lies down with another man, or a woman lying down with another woman, read on.
As he lies with a woman.
As he lies with a woman, because a man is supposed to lie down with a woman. Like, brother, you're supposed to lay down with that sister. Sis, you're supposed to lay down with that brother. Brother, you ain't supposed to be laying down with that other brother. Sis, you ain't supposed to be laying down, buckling carpets with another sister. Nah. The Lord said if a man lie down with another man, like if he lied with a woman, read on.
Both of them have committed an abomination.
Both of them have committed an abomination. Meaning both of you have committed an abomination unto the Lord. And it goes to show you, man, homosexuality is an abomination unto the Most High. Like everybody, go ahead, sis.
Abomination, is that like hate or detest? Like something how the hate and detest.
Come, detest. Abomination is another strong word, as we all know. You look it up. But something that is just unseemly, something that is abominable, something that causes disgust. I got it in the New Oxford American Dictionary. It's just an abomination, a thing that causes disgust or hatred. Meaning, not only does it disgust the Most High hates it. The Lord hates what our people are doing in this homosexuality, in this gay, in this lesbianism. The Lord does. Listen, and here's the thing, right? I'm glad you asked that, sis, because our people that think it's all right, because every homosexual still believes God loves them. They believe that God made them this way. The Lord is not the author of confusion. God hates you for being a homosexual. And they love to say, oh, but you die, and the Lord, doesn't doesn't hate the sinner. He hates the sin, which is a lie. And we're going to get that in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, in the 6th verse. The Lord not only hates the sin, but he hates the sinner as well. Meaning, if you are a homosexual, the Lord hates you. Right. Now, the thing is, you can change from being a homosexual. That's what Christ ended up dying for. So you could stop whatever wickedness that you were doing. Not so you can just continue on whatever you was doing. No. Can't do that. The Lord hates homosexuality. Read it again from the top.
If a man also lie with mankind as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
Both of them have committed an abomination. Meaning the Lord hates this. The Lord is disgusted by it. Read on.
They shall surely be put to death.
They shall surely be put to death. I know a lot of y'all remember that movie that came out in, 92, 93, called Philadelphia, with Tom Hanks playing the homosexual lawyer, and how everybody was like, yo, don't touch me, get away from me. They end up firing. Nobody wants to be around, homosexuals, especially now that, the monkeypox is popping on. You don't even want a homosexual to breathe in your direction. I'll walk on y'all. Rock. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah brought it up. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah brought it from me. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, clap it up. Get on. It's smooth. There was a few things I had to go into in Connecticut I wanted to do here. About the police. Let me see if I can find it all right. I'll answer your questions as well and get into your topics. You should definitely bring out Donald Trump, his house getting raided, and get the UPK's official stance on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home being raided. Let's get into that, okay? And I'll answer your questions, all right? Anything else? Raise the camera, it takes two up if you don't mind. Okay. Give me some height, all right? Okay. So, all right. Where are we at now? Any questions in the room? I'll answer them for you now if you have a question. If not, I'll ask for a question online, all right? Young man.
I just had a question about the same way how a lot of these drugs in the communities, how they put it in our medicine as well, how that affect us? Does that cause us to sin as well?
You mean, give me an example, like an Oxycontin or things like that, like a drug that's opium, right? Well, let me give you a precept. You gotta give me the herbs are for medicine, right? Carl. The Most High created the planet and Earth, right? The planet of Earth, and everything here is made to be used, and everything here has a proper purpose, right? There's food here, but of course, if you eat too much food, then you can ruin your body. You can get diabetes. You can damage yourself from eating too much food. There's alcohol here. There's water here. But of course, if the water is poisoned, then of course, even the water can hurt you. You understand? The Most High created herbs for medicine. They have their purpose, right? Their purpose is not for pleasure, not for recreation, but there is the water, Danielle. But there is a proper purpose for medications. Now, of course, our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. So he uses things out of purpose, uses things in a way that they should not be used. Marijuana, for example. Marijuana has a purpose. It's a pain stopper. Marijuana can help you in times of pain, right? But our oppressor has decided to get rich and to push it on blacks and Hispanics, and now to legalize marijuana. And before it was legalized, to push it on black people to destroy themselves and their community. Oxycontin is another example. Oxycontin is created with something called opium. Anything that's an opioid, it's an opioid because it's made with opium. And opium comes from the poppy plant. It's a plant. What's the purpose of the poppy plant? It helps with pain. It's a medication. Do you understand? But our oppressor uses opium to get rich. And many times, many doctors will give out opioids simply to keep a paying customer coming back. You understand? So they want you to come back. They'll want you to continue to use their services. They don't want you to go to another doctor. They want you have insurance, and they want you to keep coming to them. And of course, if you have insurance, you can switch doctors if you feel like it.
They don't want you to switch doctors, so they give you what you want. And what you want is opioids. And because of that, the whole damn country got addicted to opioids, and it became the #1 cause of death for a little while, surpassing car accidents. Do you understand? I'll give you the precept whenever you're ready.
Khan, sir. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed.
The Most High gave us every herb bearing seed. Keep going.
Khan. And every which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat.
Meat means it's good. You can eat it, it's good. Give me the medicine one as well. Leave it in the Apocrypha, right? Meaning all of these herbs, they have a purpose. All of them are good, and if used in the right way, they would help heal us for different problems. The problem with this world is that it's run by a monster. And this monster takes a thing that could be good in moderation, good at a specific time, and then uses it to enslave people. I'll compare it to cough medicine. Right? You ever had a cold when you were a kid? You ever used Robitussin? Right? You familiar with that? How did it affect you when you had a cold when you were a child? Made you get some rest, right? Made you not cough for a couple of hours, right? So you can get some rest. Well, later on, cough syrup began to be something that people used to satisfy the pain of childhood, the pain of being molested, the pain of growing up in the ghetto. The cough medicine became something people use for recreation, as opposed to using it when you have a cough and when you can't sleep at night. That's the proper use of it. You understand? And it's like that with everything. So with the things that you see in this world, they're here and they have a purpose and they come out the ground and they have seeds because God wants them to grow. But he does not want them to be used the way our oppressor teaches us to use them. Do you understand? Go ahead.
Khan, Ecclesiastes chapter 38 and verse 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth.
You understand that? And that's what opium is. And opioids, opium is for medication. Now, the opioids that our oppressor creates are extremely addictive. He creates them to be addictive. He wants people to get addicted so that he can enslave people. Do you understand? But the actual poppy, the actual milk of the poppy, which is what it used to be called, if used the right way, that milk of the poppy can help someone who has a broken leg, who has to travel a long distance and with a broken foot, and they need something for pain. You get my point? But our oppressor takes that poppy, takes the milk of that poppy, and refines it and cultivates it in a way to make you a slave. And that's what drug addiction is. It's slavery. It's losing your soul. Any drug addict can tell you this, brother, and they all know. To be an addict to something, not just to be a slave. You're a slave to the drug, which makes you a slave to the drug dealer, which makes you a slave to the person that created the drug. You understand? Any other questions? So, next.
Khan. Sister says, Shalom, sir. I have a question about Yahweh's pet. What is the purpose of his pet, and where in the Bible can I find it?
I'm not sure what she's talking about. Explain a little more, sis, all right? Anything else while she's finding that?
No more lies.
All right, let me give you the things I need here. Stand by. Okay. I'm gonna send you a couple of links, all right?
Khan.
If there's any questions in the room, just ask while I'm looking down. It's fine.
Khan.
Go ahead, Rory.
The other day I was reading the chapter of Luke 14, 26 to 27. I just wanted to get a better explanation on it.
No problem. Go ahead and go to it, all right?
Book of Luke, chapter 14, and verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Okay, give me the precept I need for that. Give me the precept where Christ said, who loveth mother and father more than need me is not worthy of me. Give me Matthew 10. I said a man at variance. Start with that, all right? Let me send the officer these precepts real fast. Okay, since you're two just now, right?
Sir.
Okay, hold on. These two might be good. Let's see. 1, 2. Okay, maybe a 1, 2. The one is about Brittany Griner. I don't need that one, all right? I just need the ones about the cops. I think 2 of them should suffice. All right, ask the question again.
Just an explanation of chapter 14.
You want a breakdown on Luke? Where do you want it? Where is that again?
26 and 27.
Luke 26 and 27. Officer, you die?
The book of Luke, chapter 14, and verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
He cannot be my disciple. Meaning, if you're going to serve Christ, you're going to have to hate your mother, your father, even yourself to serve Christ. Now, what does that mean? Of course, it is not unlawful to love your mother. It is not unlawful to love your father. It is not unlawful to love yourself. What Christ is speaking about is this. Give me Matthew 10 and 34, I believe, all right? This is the precept that you need for this. Matthew 10 and 34. When you have it, let me know. I believe that's it.
Book of Matthew, chapter 10, and verse 34. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
That precept that you asked about, brother, that reveals a secret about Jesus. One of the many secrets about Jesus that the Christians don't want you to know. You know what this is describing? To serve Jesus Christ, you are going to have to be in a cult. You're going to have to do it because he requires that kind of extreme devotion, that kind of zeal. He requires loyalty out. And it's important, and I'll explain. The reason that you have to think like this is because people in the world who you love and you care about and who are important to you, they are going to force you to stop serving Christ. The people that are important to you the most, they do not want you to serve God, especially you. You don't want you to serve God. If you can't fight your family and fight yourself, you can't serve Christ because those are the people that are going to try to stop you. Your family and yourself. I'll prove it to you right here. Read it again.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, and verse 34. Think not that I have come to send peace on earth.
The Lord said, think not that I come to send peace on earth. Isn't that one of the many myths that you hear about Jesus Christ? That he wants all of us to love each other and all of us to get along and just for peace to reign all throughout the planet. That's the myth that you hear about Jesus your entire life. Don't think that. That's not true. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. And why is Christ saying that 2,000 years ago? Because back then they were trying to lie and say that he was trying to promote peace. and he was a pacifist when he is not. Just the opposite, brother. To serve Christ, we're going to have to be a hardcore revolutionary because he is. And so when he came, he said, don't think that that's what I'm teaching. I'm not. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. Go ahead.
Verse 35. For I am come to set a man at variance.
Stop right there. For I am come to set a man at variance. Alexa. No Alexa. He's down completely. We got the most troubled Alexa in all the earth. I got 5 Alexas. They work like a watch, all of them. Think not that I come to send peace on earth, but I come to set a man at variance. The word variance is like to vary, to differ, to create differences. You understand? Christ came to put differences between you and your mom, differences between you and your father, differences between you and yourself, where you'll struggle inside trying to do what's right, a struggle you wouldn't otherwise have. And here's let me keep breaking it down, then I'll explain to you the spirit behind it. Keep going.
Against his father, and against the daughter against her mother.
The daughter against the mother, the son against the father. Go ahead.
And the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
And the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Keep going.
And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
Read that again.
And a man's foes.
And a man's foes, the word foe is an old English word for enemy. A man's foes shall be them of his own household. Now here's the key. Based on this precept right here, what will make the people in your own household your foe? Young man. But be right here, because there's many times you can go against what they tell you and they're fine with that. There are a lot of mothers that will tell you not to sell drugs. And when you sell drugs, you know what they'll do? You know? Bail you out of jail. They'll go straight down there and bail you straight out of jail. They'll say, stop hanging on the corner. Stop selling drugs. And when they get the call from you that you're locked up, your mommy is coming down to jail to get you out of prison. And she's going to buy you a lawyer. And she's going to go down. And when they call you down to the school, your mother that tells you don't misbehave in school. Act right in school. Well, when the principal calls your mother to tell your mother how bad you are in school, what do mothers do? Do you know? Oh, please. Say again? This is what they do. They go down to the school and they argue with the principal. Not my baby. He did not do that. They didn't do that. You out of your mind. And they go and fight the principal. Because their daughter is throwing a chair through the goddamn window. They never believe a bad report about their child, even though they beat their child and they tell their child not to misbehave. Right? There are many times when you can go against your parents and they're fine with that, brother. Absolutely fine with it. Based on this precept, based on what Christ just said, what is going to make your enemy, your family, your enemies? You following Christ. It's right here. For I come to set a man at variance against his mother, his father, the father-in-law against the son-in-law, and a man's enemy shall be them of his own household, because Christ came to do it. That's the point. It's right at the top of the verse. Go ahead and read it again for the brother.
Think not that I've come to set peace on earth.
So when you come to join the truth, don't think your mommy is going to like it. Don't think that daddy is going to go, hey, great, good job, brother. No, I'm glad to see that you know how many people come in here and they get out the streets finally for the first time. They're not killing people anymore. They're not shooting people. They're not selling drugs. And their parents are angry that they're in the truth. And it always shocks them like, what? I thought you wanted me to stop selling drugs. They would rather you sell drugs than be in the UPK. They would rather that you do it. It's more preferable. A lot of you sisters, you would think your mother, when you tell your mother, well, I'm going to stay with one man for the rest of my life. I'm not. Your mother would rather that you go out and have sex with strange men than you come into the UPK. And you don't know that until you come into the UPK. You finally see that really your parents really the one thing that they really truly hate is you serving Christ. Everything else was minor to that. And because of that, you're going to have to be strong. You're going to have to be willing to give them up for Christ. Now, if your parents don't reject you, love them. Be with them, and, they're wonderful. But you better be ready to lose your parents for Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. Read it one more time, and I'll go back to his precept and break it down for you.
Come, sir. Think not that I've come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
But what does a sword do? A sword severs. Now with your father on one side, you on the other. Now with your mother on one side, you on the other. Where before you were together in a lie, together in dysfunction. There are so many families absolutely unified in dysfunction and in chaos. A lot of you women, your mother was molested, you're molested. You argue every day and live with each other and come to the family reunions and the barbecues and the Christmas parties and can be totally unified in chaos. Totally together, fight with each other, like that old saying, brothers always fight. Have you heard that before? We're sisters, and sisters fight. We're brothers, and brothers fight. What are you talking about? You telling me that being my brother means we're supposed to fight? Goddamn, so it's better really to not be my brother. Because if you're not my brother, then maybe I won't steal your sneakers and you punch me in the face. But because you're my brother, I'm supposed to steal your sneakers and punch you in the face? Oh, sisters, you know how sisters are. Sisters are going to fight. Well, isn't it better that she's not your sister? Because then you won't have to steal her clothes and she scratches your face off. You're not supposed to fight family members. But because we are used to dysfunction, comfortable in dysfunction, we're together in dysfunction. But then Christ came and severs us from them. Now, we're not comfortable with being with someone who actively tries to destroy you every day. A lot of you can sit at the table with your child molester every Christmas. Have you heard about that before? Oh, my God. Oh, you will. Hey, women, sister, have you heard about it before? Women going to holiday parties and the uncle that molested them is at the holiday party every year. Have you heard of that? Of course you have. You're a woman. You know just what I'm talking about, because sisters do that all the time. All the time. They get comfortable in that dysfunction. They don't separate. They stay there. He molested you. He's there in the house. He's right there at every Christmas party. And you're expected to show up at every Christmas party. Come on. Christ came to bring a sword to sever that dysfunctional, terrible, poisonous, toxic relationship. The relationship between you and your mom, you and your father, you and your family. Keep going.
For I have come to set a man at variance against his father.
Who has come?
For I am come to set a man at variance against his father.
Who has come?
For I am come.
You see, Christ did it. He's the reason that you're not going to get along with your parents. Him. It won't be drugs. It won't be lies. It won't be behavior. It'll be you reading the Bible. I mean, it's an amazing thing. Do you know that people think we're crazy? I went through this today, as is my everyday, dealing with lunatics every goddamn day. And do you know that parents think we're crazy because we believe that Joseph had sex with Mary and the baby Jesus came from sex? Do you understand how mixed up this world has to be? If we're nuts for believing that a woman got pregnant from sex, Captain Desariac was in a whole battle with some idiot named Polite, who said that you don't need to have sex to make a baby. But we were the crazy ones because we said, yeah, you do need to have sex to make a baby. And Mary had sex. And people are going to think you're crazy because you believe that Mary had sex. When damn, aren't you crazy? Aren't you, okay, if you believe that a baby came with no sex, why aren't you the crazy one? Like, why am I crazy for saying that she did have sex? Seeing that every baby you've ever seen came that way. I'm just saying that Christ came the same way every baby every mammal, every bird, every lion, every tiger, everything is made through sex. But your parents will hate you for that and think you're in a crazy cult because you say that Mary and Joseph had sex and that's how they got a son. Christ came to bring a sword. The thinking that saying to your mama that Mary had sex with her man and that she got pregnant by a man will make your parents hate you. Mm-hmm. Your parents are going to say, you're crazy. Please, sister.
One time I told my dad that sex is marriage. He almost lost.
Oh, my dear. Listen, that happened today as well. Give Solomon and listen, if you tell your mom or your dad that sex is marriage, they will think you're out of your goddamn mind. When meanwhile, they think a ring is marriage. Wow. Listen, put my chain on and then you be my wife. Wait, put it on your neck. Come on, put it on. Take it, bitch, take it. Huh, here's some jewelry. Take my chain, and now I own you. now we're together forever. When I could just, or when I feel like it, I'll just do what? Take my chain back. And now you're not my wife? So here's the bitch. You put a ring on, we're married forever. Together, wherever, it never ends. Take it off, I'm single. Change my status. It's akin to, it's like saying your status on Instagram makes you married. And people are status married. That means we're married. Status single. Now we broke up. It's all over now. How could jewelry make you married? Why am I crazy? Why am I the crazy one? Jewelry is the thing. You die.
You left one out, sir. This is the one. It's complicated.
That's complicated, right? So who knows if they're married or not, right? Who the hell even knows? That's normal. Listen now. With sex creates life. Sex takes life. Sex is a sacrament. It is gigantic. It is a pillar of the institution of the family is sex. And you can't have family without sex. That's the only way to even have family, is to have sex. But meanwhile, the Catholic Church, who say they believe in sacraments and holy things, they think marriage is a ring from a store that you can take on and off, but we're crazy. And when you tell your parents that sex is marriage, even though you would think that your father would love it, because if sex is not marriage, then what is sex? Now I want you to go into understanding your parents now. If you tell your father sex is marriage and your father says, no, it is not, then what is your father saying that sex is? So that's what marriage is. Marriage is a ring and a certificate to your father. But what is sex then to your father? To understand that is to truly get your parents. Come on.
Fornication.
Meaning what? Explain.
So if you don't have a ring and a certificate to get married and have a wedding, a holy matrimony, before you have sex, and you have sex before the marriage, before the ceremony and a ring and a certificate, then that's fornication. That's fornication. And do you think that your father ever did that? Ever had sex before he met your mother? I think he did. How about your mother? I'm not sure. Reading on. Anyway, in Ezekiel 17. Well, the problem with Christians is they elevate a ring and a certificate to the height of, marriage, which means you can just have sex with anybody because it means nothing, which is what they do. Right? If sex is not marriage, then what is it? Pleasure, fun, something you can just do when it means nothing. The only thing that matters is who you get a certificate with and a ring with. As far as sex, they'll start having it, I think, when they're 13, right? 13 years old, keep having it. Doesn't mean anything because sex is not important. It doesn't matter. A ring matters, which means your father, in essence, is teaching you that you can just have sex all the time and it really don't matter
because it's nothing. It doesn't even matter at all, which is what your parents actually did. You get my point. What do you want to say?
Yeah, because he tells me, y'all gotta have a ring and you gotta have a wedding and everything, but he didn't do that. He didn't go on matrimony.
That's what I'm
But
trying to
yes, so
say.
he considered my mom as a family.
That's what I'm trying to say. You like to them, sex is nothing, and they're fine with you having sex. They don't mind that. You think all Christians are getting married and having sex? Are you joking? You know that, don't you, brother? Christians ain't thinking about none of that garbage. But in their mind, a ring is like what everybody should be getting and doing. But it doesn't mean they're going to be celibate for the rest of their lives, because they're not. You get my point? You understand? Please, come on.
My parents get really upset when I tell them, I call my brother my husband.
Go ahead. Give her a hand. She's one West, I don't know. That's your husband. They can't stand that, but he is, because your body matters, right? The person that you give your body to, unless your body is nothing, unless your body is so much garbage that you can just give it to a man and mean nothing. But if you give your body to someone, it should matter, and your father should applaud it, because it means his daughter is not a hoe. His daughter gave her body to someone, and she honors that as a lifelong union. Your father should be proud of you. I am proud of you. Give her a hand. No sweat. All right, let's get back to the brother's question, to the precept he asked.
Gone. Luke chapter 14 and verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his
So
father.
now you're trying to come to Christ, but you're going to leave Christ the minute your mom doesn't like it. You're going to leave Christ the minute your father doesn't like it. You shouldn't even come to him. If you're going to come to him, you better prefer Christ to your mother. You better prefer Christ to your father, or else you really should not even come, because your mother and your father are going to fight you for simply being in the truth, for loving God, for following Christ. They're going to reject you. And there are many people that leave the truth over it. They can't take it. They can't take not pleasing their mother, their wife, their girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, their father. They can't take displeasing them, right? Because so many of us in the truth, you are good. You are a good person. And because you're a good person, you'll be victimized by cruel people. And you can't take their displeasure. You want to make them happy. You want to do what your mother tells you to do, your father tells you to do. Well, then you can't come to Christ, because your mother and your father aren't going to like it. They're going to say you're in a cult. They're going to say you're crazy. And if that is what runs you out of here, don't even come in here. Everybody understands. Keep going. That's why it says you have to hate them. Because when they come up against Christ, they become your enemy. Do you understand? And what does hating them mean? Hating them doesn't mean you slap them or punch them or do anything to them.
Right.
You just don't let them pull you out of school.
Right.
That's it. Because so many Christians, with all of their love talk, they will leave you because you're in the truth. Well, please believe that. With all that love, they love the white man, but they don't love their son when he wants to come into the school. Before you know, this parent who's talking about, how, they're your mother and this and that, she'll say, get out, don't come around here anymore because you are in the school. And this is another thing that always bewilders me. Okay, your parents love the white man. Many people hate us because we say the oppressor is the devil. But they love our oppressor. The oppressor gives you freedom of religion. Why can't I have some? Since you love white people so much, and you love America, and you love the oppressor, you love the red, white, and blue, and the American freedoms. Okay, well, America says, I have the right to choose the religion that I want. America can't fire me from my job because of my religion. America can't discriminate against me because of my religion. If you love our oppressor, then why do you discriminate against me because of my religion? Why don't you give me the same rights your God would? You love white people. Well, white people believe in the freedom of religion. Then give me the freedom of religion. Fine. You can celebrate Christmas. I'm not. Why do we have to fight each other? Don't you love America? You love abortion. You love all the other rights that America gives you. You love the freedom of speech. You love the right to have an abortion. You love the right to protest. You love the right to eat whatever you want. You love the right to get divorced if you want to just be with a man if you want, and to leave a man if you want. You love women's rights. You love these things. You love gay rights. So you telling me that this gay man, you support his right to be whatever he wants to be. If he wants to be a woman and call himself Karen and change his pronouns to she and ma'am, you support that. But you don't support my right to be called an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, an Israelite from the tribe of Issachar, from the tribe of Simeon, from the tribe of Gad. You won't give me my pronouns? You won't, I can't call myself what I want to call myself. Everyone else has the right. He has the right to be a woman if he wants to. I don't have the right to be the chosen people of God. I can't say that. I can't be a Jew. But this man can be a woman. This woman can be a man. But I can't be a Jew. I thought you loved America. Well, that's a prime American sensibility. Freedom. I can't have any. Maybe you don't really believe in freedom. Maybe in actuality, all of your freedom talk is oppression. Maybe that's really what we're talking about. Maybe my freedom only extends to whatever displeases you. And that's what you'll find with parents. This freedom of religion garbage in America only goes as far as it gets to the point when you're doing something that they are not pleased with. Then you lose that freedom. Be willing to lose it. Hate it. Hate it for Christ. Everyone understands. Anything else?
I want to continue with the precepts, sir. What's the other question?
I think it's right. You can give them those 2 precepts. You can read them on your own time. All right. Next.
Honorable Khan, sir. Honorable Khan. Sister says, Salaki Allah, if I may, what is the school stance on someone who's still friends with someone who left the school?
1 second. Say it one more time.
Khan. Sister says, Salaki Allah, if I may, what is the school stance on someone who's still friends with someone who left the school?
Okay, well, the Israelite School of UPK's official stance on anyone that left the school is that they're in the world and we don't care who you're friends with. It doesn't matter to us. However, with that said, you should really question whether or not you are friends. Right? Come on.
So I have 2 precepts on 2 Corinthians 6:14 and then Amos 3:3.
Let's read it first and I'll break it down.
Go. You want 2 Corinthians first or Amos 3?
That's Amos.
Amos. Go. Book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3. Can 2 walk together except they be agreed?
Read that again.
Can 2 walk together except they be agreed?
The Bible says, can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Meaning, here's the metaphor. 2 people are walking down the same path. Well, for them to walk that path, they both have to agree to go there. Because otherwise, they won't be able to walk down that path because you'll go in this direction and they'll go in that direction. So if you're walking on the same path, you both must agree to go to the same destination. Simple to understand, right? Well, how are 2 people going to walk together and they disagree? Before you know it, they'll turn into different directions. How can 2 walk together if they're not agreed? So if you are friends with someone who left the school, do you agree with them? Is that how you're able to do this mock friendship? Because you agree with them. They left the school, they hate the truth. And you're still friends? Okay, so then you 2 agree to walk this path. You 2 are headed in this direction and you're together. I wonder. Keep going. Next one.
2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
Be ye not unequally yoked. Now, the metaphor is, give them a picture of 2 oxes under a yoke, all right? Show them a yoke and 2 oxes, right? The brother will show you, right? This is a metaphor from farming, like many precepts are about farming, because Israelites were farmers, were sheep herders, right? As their primary job until they went to slavery and then served other kingdoms using our skill in other ways, right? Come on.
precept on bad communications for good manners?
Bad communication, it could. It doesn't have to only be about friendship, that precept. It could be about what you're taught as well. Okay, being told this thing, someone teaching you this can spoil your good manners because you're taught to be rude and out of order. So, but it also can apply to it. Correct. So here, right here, make sure everyone can see this at home, all right?
Oh, cut on.
This is a yoke. This is a yoke on top of two oxen, right? How are these two oxen going to pull if one of them is pulling harder than the other? They have to be evenly yoked, meaning you have to put that yoke on them in such a way to force them to be together. Or else, like any animal, the dominant animal, the stronger one, the one that's more hard-headed, will go this way. And then what will happen to the weaker ox, young man? He'll go with them. So you have to put this ox, you have to situate them in a way that they can't pull off of each other. That they have to go in one path so that you can have a straight line of corn, a straight line of carrots, a straight line of cabbage. You can't have the oxes pulling all over the goddamn place. And the problem is with friends that you have that left the truth. Inevitably, that one that left the truth is the stronger one. They're stronger than you. Because if they weren't stronger than you, you would never be their friend. Do you understand? The official stance of the UPK is that you can be friends with whoever the hell you want to. What do we care? What does General Yohana care who you cry on the phone to about your man? Which is all you dumb bitches are doing. You get on the phone and you want to be her friend because she'll let you talk about your husband to her on the phone.
Right.
Talk about it. Who cares? Right? It doesn't, why would it care? General Yohana has to deal with nationwide problems. He has to deal with NBC and Canada and the guy B'nai B'rith and the government and the FBI. He doesn't care what bitch you gossip to on the phone about your husband. You can do it, enjoy it. But just remember, usually the reason that you are their friend is because they're stronger than you. Because if you were stronger than them, what would happen? Someone blow my mind. I know you know it, Bun. How about you, brother? If you were stronger than the person that left the truth, what would happen? Think about the unevenly yoked scenario. You broke it down earlier. I'm about to give it to Solid. You want to give it a shot? Go ahead. Say it one more time. You would follow him where? But if you were stronger than him, what would happen? If you were stronger than them, you would have pulled him into the truth. But because he's stronger than you, he left, and here you go, following with him. He left, and you're still his friend. But if you were the strong one, you would stay, and he would stay to be with you. He would say, I can't leave the school, because if I leave the school, General Muhammad is going to walk over me on the street if I'm laying in a pool of blood, which I would. Don't sweat it. You will. You understand? If I'm in a pool of blood, he'll walk over me. He won't answer my calls anymore. And I know a lot of people stay in the truth simply because they know that they can't get help once they leave. And that's us pulling them into our direction because we're stronger. But you're weaker. So since you're the weak one, they leave the truth, and you say, well, I still want you to be my friend. Can we still talk and go and drink some more and drink? Yeah, can we drink, though, together? One question. Any way we can get drunk together and talk and gossip all day and cry and be friends and talk about my husband? And they'll go, yeah, because they're pulling you out of the school. And we encourage it. So we're not going to stop you from being friends because hopefully we'll get more people out the school so that we can be pure and righteous and strong. You understand? So be friends with whoever you want to be friends with. All right, any more on this? Good. But just know you're weak. That's the point. Let me finish this precept one more time.
2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
The person that left the truth and broke their oath remember, to come into the school, you have to take an oath. You take an oath to be in the school. The person that breaks their oath, and then you're still their friend, please believe they know you're weak. That's something else that they don't tell you. The friends you have to leave the school, when you continue to talk to them, remember, they were in the school. So they know that by you talking to them, you are showing weakness. They know it. They absolutely know it. And they believe you're weak enough to do it. Because there's certain people they would never even try to be friends with again. They would not even call. There's certain people that when they leave the school, they never call this person again. There are certain sisters too, that they know they leave the school, they're not calling her. Because this sister is one West. She's not weak. The sister that they continue to call is the punk, is the one who's a sucker, is the one who is so flawed and needy, which is a thing. That's a big thing that you really, okay, to be in the truth, you can't be needy for companionship. You understand? Like someone who's just, it's like high school in that, imagine, let me put your brain back to high school. You got a crew of people in high school, and it's the cool guy. He's in the crew. He's the lead one. He's the one that everybody really wants to be around. And then there's other people around him. And then there's this other one in the crew that really, you know, he's simply in this group because he's desperate for friends. And there are certain people who are desperate for friends. And when I say desperate, I can't really emphasize it enough. I mean, life or death. I mean, you know, they're going to kill themselves if someone doesn't like them. And how do you know that one? That's the one that fakes like he's with the other crew. Like, hey, I'm one of y'all. I'm just like y'all. Yeah, I'm cool too. Yeah. You talking about girls? Yeah, I get girls. Me too. You do? Yeah, I sex too. I sex you like you sex. Like, come on, man. You don't have to be like that. Okay. So you don't have to force yourself to be liked by people. And people that leave the truth can instinctively pick out the people in the school who are desperate for friendship. It's like a shark that sees blood. Like they know you need my friendship. When I leave the school, you're going to keep talking to me because you're desperate to be like me. You're desperate to talk to somebody. You're lonely. And they can smell it on you like a predator. And before you know it, they're calling you and you're calling them. And then, you know, you're in such a betwixt like, well, can I talk to them? They left the truth. Am I able to be their friend? Why would you be desperate to be friends with somebody who left the truth when being in the truth gives you an army of friends?
Right.
You got an army of friends. I mean, come on. Who in the truth is lacking for friendship? If this bitch leaves, you know how many other sisters there are that will just be your friend? What do you want to do? Drink and paint? You can do it. There's tons of bitches in here that drink and paint with you, talk to you on the phone, get your nails done, go to the zoo, go to the beach, go to activities, all kinds of stuff. You don't lack for friendship in the UPK. Why? Because all of us are rejected by the world. And all we have is each other. We don't have parents and Christmas parties that we can go to. All we have is one another. So if someone leaves the school, you don't have to come behind them like a sad puppy trying to keep their friendship because you have more friends. So you can be yourself. You don't have to fake like you sex or act like you're cool. You can just be yourself because all we have is one another. So we accept each other. Even with your failings and with your lack of coolness and your lack of, being cool and getting all the girls and being popular, you're going to be popular in here.
Right.
Because we are so few on purpose. Because all we have is each other. You don't have to chase, some bitch who you believe is your last friend. You're out of high school. Right. You got to grow up a taste. Right? You want to try to mature. Mm-hmm. Everybody understands. Please, officer.
Question, sir. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for class. I just didn't want to burden you with it later. Long story short, I want to have Camp of Honduras. You know that zone, particularly Central America, Zebulon, is the most dangerous area on earth. The homicide rate. We were actually going to the city that for a time, I think still today is the murder capital of the world. I'm not gonna lie, sugarcoat it, make it less
I
than it is.
understand.
Would that be too obvious? It's one match. I'm willing to go.
Of course, I know you are. Give him a hand. All right. I know you're willing to go, and if ordered, you'll go. That's a fact, correct? Okay, but according to our protocols, that would not be part of our protocols just to go. In all of the UPK camps, everywhere they're all lawful. You understand? We speak the way we speak in America differently than we speak in the UK. It's different.
Right.
Because in the UK, we have a speaking and a procedure that is sculpted to what is acceptable there, which is how we're able to stay on the street in the UK. There are things that I say in New York I would never say in Birmingham or in London because I couldn't say it there because it would be illegal to say it there. So for us to go to any city, we'd have to first adhere to the rules, the code of conduct in that city. All right, and once we do that, then now we have a speaking that can exist long-term here in this city. You can't go to a city and commit crime and be sustainable long-term. Because in some cases, speaking there is a crime. And if speaking there is a crime, then you can't speak there. You have to, it almost just takes more imagination. So what you want to do first, let me give you some examples. Okay, you want a place like Honduras to go there and speak? You have to figure out what is accepted here. Who in government wants us to be here? Who in charge? And when I say government, I really just mean whoever's in charge. Okay, even government is different in other places. You get my point? We went out there to speak in Mexico and did that speaking in Mexico. And the people in charge out there wanted us to be there. Do you get my point? The people in charge can vary place to place. The people in charge that wanted us there were not the government. You understand? But they wanted us there. And they wanted us to give out food to those Haitians. And I thank the Lord for them because they allowed us to be there, helped us to be there, guided us while we were there, and then helped us get out. Whoever they are. Do you understand? So you can find that in many other countries. You can find where the people who say who can be here, the people who say who can teach here, you know, they can allow it, and when they allow it, the government has allowed you to do it because they just happen to be the government here. And governments exist everywhere. They're not always the government on paper, but they're the actual government of the place. You get my point? So that would just take a lot of research first. And of course, you don't want to go without going through all of our checks and balances and our routine that has worked since 1969. You understand? This goes with cities. We go into cities, we find out the police district that's in control of the campsite that we're going to speak at. It's similar to that. Who's in charge here? Who's in charge on the ground right here where we are? We make introduction to that person or that agency or that group. And because of that, we're able to flow and do our thing. You get the point. All right. Anything else?
Brother wanted a general breakdown, sir, of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity.
1 second. Okay, read it one more time.
First
Y'all see me one more time?
1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 12. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers.
Let no man despise thy youth. Now, here's what your mind will tell you this is talking about, but it's not. It will say if a brother tries to be angry at you simply because you're young, he's wrong. That is not what this is talking about. When it says let no man despise your youth, meaning don't do the kind of things that make older brothers hate how stupid and young you are.
That's what it means. That's how you don't let a man despise your youth, by not acting so goddamn immature. That's what it means, and I'll explain right afterwards. Let no man despise thy youth. Go ahead.
But be thou.
What?
But be.
But
thou,
what?
But be.
But be. This is how you know what he's talking about. Don't let anybody despise your youth, but be, meaning this is how you behave, so that no one despises your youth. This is how you behave. Go ahead.
Thou an example.
Be an example. If you're an example, then the brother won't go, this cat is young and stupid as shit. He can't stop. All he thinks life is about tail. That's young. And some cats are young, and people who know that life is more than just tail will get sick of you. They'll get sick of you because all you ever do is chase tail. You're into your goddamn 40s, still chasing tail constantly. You act like a kid. You get caught with the same tracks of youth. You get caught with an 18-year-old honey trap constantly. You're on Instagram and everything, and all you can do is get caught up with some whore, some slut all the time. Before you know it, the men above you go, I need a grown man down there. This cat I can't deal with because he's young. He's just too young. And all he can do is chase tail and get drunk, which is young. And that's a kid. A kid tastes liquor for the first time, like, ooh, damn, this is beer. Oh my God. And what does a kid do? Drink all the beer, all of it. Ooh, this is beer. What's this? Well, this is sex. Oh my God. I have to have it all the time, every day with everybody, no matter who. That's good. Act like you had some tail before.
Right.
This your first time? You never had that before? Act like you've been there before. Act like that's not your first drink.
Right.
You tasted liquor today. What does that mean? You're drunk for 3 days? This your first time tasting liquor? This is it. It's blowing your mind. You've drunk before, right? Mm-hmm. Have you had sex before with a woman? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, relax. You don't have to make your whole life about sex and drink, because before you know it, grown men will go, I can't deal with you, because you're just vexing and nerve-wracking, because you're like trying to get a little boy to focus in school.
Right.
Don't let a man hate you because of your youth, but rather be an example. Keep going.
Of the believers.
Of the believers. So now you want to behave yourself like someone that believes, with restraint and in moderation, with discipline on. Now brothers will look at you like, listen, this cat is young in the truth, but he's well disciplined, man. He's very mature. And that's how you want to be. Otherwise, people will get sick of you. Who in the hell can deal with a child all the goddamn time trying to keep you out of jail? Who in the hell has enough time in the day to keep you housed, to keep a roof over your head, to keep you out of prison, to somehow force one of these women that you have sex with to stay with you? That's a lot of work. Right. There's a lot of work to constantly, okay, which one of his wives are you? Okay, please don't leave him. Please let him stay in the house. Okay, how much do you need for your rent? Okay, I got you. All right, I'll work on that with him. Forgive him, love him, don't leave him. Okay, hold on, I got to take another line. Hello, you the other one, right? Please stay with him. Please don't leave him. I'll get his drinking under control. Yes, I know he ain't seen you in 2 years. I got you. Hold on, my other line is ringing. Who has time for that? Grow the F up. If you're going to have sex with a woman, you're going to have to go see her. You're going to have to be with her, or else don't have sex with her. You're going to have to learn repercussions and learn about, your actions and what they cause. You're going to have a place to live and food, and, this wife got to get a phone call. It gets boring quick. And before you know it, somebody who's grown will say, is there anyone else that could help me out in that city? Is there someone else that could be over that camp? Is there someone else that could do that job? Because this cat is too much work. He needs to devote his life to fun. You understand? Anything else?
So the verse says, in word, in conversation, in charity.
How? You're going to talk like somebody who's grown, right? I know it's very important to you brothers who the best rapper of all time is. I get it. I'm not trying to play who the best basketball player is. We got to get to the bottom of these things. I get it. I understand. How else are we going to know who the greatest basketball player is? We must figure this out. Okay? There's a council we'll be convening after class to get to the bottom of who is the greatest basketball player of all time, the greatest rapper of all time. Let's just do all the greats. Let's get them out the way. Who's the greatest impressionist painter of all time? Is it that Picasso? I don't know. People say he is. What about Rembrandt? I don't know. Some niggas like Rembrandt. Some other niggas say Picasso was better. We're going to get to the bottom of who the best impressionist painter. Look that up, Bob. Let's figure out who the best. Give me the top 5 impressionist painters of all time. Give me the top 5 abstract artists of all time. Because we're going to figure this shit out. Or we could do something else. Right? Because it doesn't mean anything and it's all opinion. Who gives a damn? All right? So you want to kind of watch your mouth and what you say. Watch how you talk. All right? Because otherwise people will think that you think that very silly things are very important. And then that will tell them that you can't really handle important things. Anything yet, Abun?
It's like, I got the top 5 abstract artists. Wassily Kandinsky.
He's on my top 5. Go ahead.
Jackson Pollock.
Jackson Pollock, he coming. I think I got him, Malak. Go ahead.
Kazimir Malevich. Mark Rothko.
Go ahead.
And fifth is Georgia O'Keeffe.
All right, it's Jackson Pollock out. It just been decided. He's the greatest impressionist painter in your debate. It's Jackson Pollock, and let's move on. All right, you got an objection.
Oh, he talked.
Okay. I'll take it. Wait, what's the Levite brother from New York? Oh my God, I'm a singer. No, the Levite brother in the world, the painter. There's a Levite painter from New York. He's an abstract artist. He died of AIDS. Basquiat. We going with Basquiat, y'all. All right, that's done. Forget Jackson Pollock. We going with Basquiat because he's from the tribe of Levi. All right. So now that that's over, let's move on to something else. Now of course I'm giving you a facetious example of silly talk, but there's a lot of things that are silly, and you don't want to treat them like they're important. They're fun. Just put it. When you're a kid, when you're young, you don't know that fun is not the primary focus of life. I remember being like that. I remember it so well. The things that were like hobbies and foolishness and fun that I thought were really life, things that you should build your life around, when you should not, because this is fun. And a kid doesn't know that fun is fun. It's not, it's not something you build your life around. Right. Your life can't be about recess. You can't. Recess is like a break in the day of important things. But a kid thinks recess is all there should be. Recess. That's a child's way to think and a child's way to talk. You understand? Go ahead. And talk.
Call sir. In spirit.
In spirit, means the way you behave. The way you behave in a way that is mature and grown and grave and important. Not just recess all day. Fun all time. Keep going.
In faith.
In faith, in what you believe and how you show what you believe. That's in your work, in the work of the Lord. How serious you take your career, which is what you do in the UPK, which is what is establishing your future. Keep going.
In purity.
In purity, where you are a truly honest and decent person. Not someone that's full of guile and lying. That's another thing that kids do, lie. It's going to make people look at you without respect. Because a child, who spilled the milk? I don't know. Who ate all the cookies? I don't know. Who ate those cookies? What's all them crumbs on your mouth? The dog put him on my mouth. What happened to your homework? The dog ate my homework. That's why people laugh about that term. Where's your homework at? The dog ate it. It's funny because it's what a kid says who can't just stand in front of his parents and say, my apologies, I did not do my homework. I was wrong. That's manly. Kids lie. Lie all the time. Why do they lie? Because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get in trouble. While a man, if he makes an error, is willing to take getting in trouble because he's done the thing that will get you in trouble. It's manly. It's mature. Say, Salaki, I did do that. I was wrong. But what does a kid do? Lie his way out of trouble constantly, all the time. People will get sick of that. They'll get sick of you lying all the time, begging, scraping, and belittling yourself, all so you cannot, take a punishment that you deserve? It's not mature. It's not manly. Come on up in the back.
I remember you said a while ago, like, you can tell a lot about a man about how well you take a check.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's correct, Doc. If a brother who's constantly trying to get out of trouble, where he cares more about getting out of trouble than he does getting in it.
Right.
You get my point? He quickly jumps into trouble. Quickly, he does things that wreck his life and wreck everything. But when it's time to pay, no, I don't deserve that. But this ain't happened. Blah, 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 blah. Come on, just drop. That's all. Just drop. Who cares about all of this? Save that for court when this same behavior ends you in front of a judge and you go, but Your Honor, I didn't even know. I didn't even see it. But the cop didn't tell me. He didn't tell me that. The cop didn't make sure I did the right thing. The cop didn't tell me. Nobody told me. I didn't know. Or shouldn't I be told and told right from wrong all the time? Shouldn't someone hold my hand and help me so that I don't commit crime? You're going to jail. Because grown people go to court. This is for grown people. You understand, right? All right, next. Anything else?
Brother wanted a general breakdown of 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 4 through 8, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Come.
Someone will tell me when it's time to go up, right?
2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 8. 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places. 2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 4. But if the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet, that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day.
Yeah, read 2 verses above.
2 Ezra chapter 5, verse 2. But iniquity shall be increased above that which thou now, it's like that which now thou seest.
This precept is about the final days of this evil kingdom, right before our Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ, will return. And in those days, Christ is telling them, you're going to see times get worse than they are right now. A lot of you went through the COVID-19 crisis. You thought that was the end of days. You thought that was it. It can't get any worse. It can, and it's going to.
Right.
Things are going to get worse than that. And if you were totally unprepared, and if you were lost and in confusion in that time, you should understand what's going to happen when it gets worse. All right? Things are going to get worse than they already are, which is what Christ is saying. Before the end has come, things will get worse than they are right now. Go ahead.
It's like this is an angel talking to Ezra.
Salaki. The angel is telling Ezra things are going to get worse. And remember, Ezra believes that things are as bad as they could get.
Right.
He thinks they are absolutely terrible, which is why he's praying to the Most High God, like, when will this be over? Things are going to get worse before it's over. That's what he's saying. It will get worse. Go ahead.
Or that thou hast heard long ago.
Things are going to happen things are going to be worse than what you've heard have happened a long time ago. Things will get worse before the end. It gets worse than what you read about in history books and what you've heard about, from old people telling you the stories. about the 1920s, about the 1800s. It will be worse before Christ returns. Go ahead.
Verse 3, and the land that thou seest now to have root, shalt thou see wasted suddenly.
And the land that you see now to have root, what does it mean to have root? If something has root, what does that mean, Malak?
Something that's established.
Something that's established. Give him a hand. Imagine a tree that's, rooted. So you don't expect that tree to move, to be knocked down because it's rooted in the ground. Well, this thing that seems to have root will be destroyed suddenly. It's gone. It's gone. What land is that? The land of our oppressor. Great Britain, America, the governments of all over of this world, the governments of the World Bank, all of the agencies and governors and police departments that police the children of Israel and oppress them through their power. These things seem rooted, but they're going to be wiped out. Gone. Keep going.
Verse 4, but if the Most High grant thee to live.
But if the Lord grants you to live, which should tell you first one thing, what? Is that your life is not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to live through this. You can die through this, right? But if the Most High grants you to survive, go ahead.
Thou shalt see after the third trumpet.
You shall see after the third trumpet. So you got one trumpet, da-da, 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 da-da. That's the third trumpet. Keep going.
That the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night.
Before you know it, in such a terrible time of darkness, the sun comes out with as much pain and suffering as will have to be endured in the last days. Once the final trump sounds, that's the third trump, the sun comes out again. And things will get better. Things will improve. In a time when you would think it's over, and there will be no nation of Israel, there will be no life. Before you know it, the sun streaks across the horizon, brother, giving the sign of a new day. And that's what's going to happen, which is why you must survive. You have to live to this point. You can't give up and miss that day when that sun strikes across the sky like that. In total darkness, the sun is going to come out, brother, signaling the dawn, signaling a change. You want to live to that point. You don't want to die before that. Everyone talks about gun violence in America. You hear about it all the time. I'm sure you do. There's a record number of gun deaths, a record number of gun violence. The number one cause of gun deaths in America is suicide. The number one. And it's not by 51%, it's like 67%. You can Google this in your phones if you would like some backup. Well, everyone is scared of getting robbed and carjacked and getting robbed at a gas station. The number one thing you should worry about is using that gun on yourself, because that is the number one cause of gun death. In the statistic, they just group suicides in with carjackings and murders. They're all murders to America. You murder yourself, someone at a gas station murdered you. It's the same thing with the stats, right? But it's like 65% are suicides because people can't survive till a new day arrives. They can't do it. They give up. And in so many ways, if you don't give up by killing yourself, you'll give up by smoking cigarettes, which will kill you. You'll give up by smoking weed, which will kill you. This week in Chicago, there's this group in Chicago. It's a nonprofit called New Chicago Hope. And they went to this school, this academy in Chicago, brother, full of brothers from the tribe of Judah and sisters from the tribe of Judah. And they paid for their entire college tuition. Everyone in the school, from the ninth graders to the seniors, and they sent their parents back to college for free. And they were clapping when they found out about it. They were so heroic. This white man did this for them. And they went and said what the white man does, and he is the largest purveyor of medical marijuana. The largest purveyor of the marijuana that's being sold in every place right now. And I said, God damn, this white man gets to walk into this high school on the south side of Chicago, and people cry and cheer because he is a drug dealer and got rich. And he's doing this on the south side of Chicago, where their father is a drug dealer and is dead. Their brother is a drug dealer and is in jail for selling weed. for selling weed, he's in jail for 10 years. But this white man gets to walk into this school and say, I'm paying for all of your college educations. Cheer me on. And it must be amazing. It must be amazing. And that's the kind of darkness we live in, where we're going to have to go to a rich white drug dealer to pay for our college education because our father sold drugs and is dead. So he's not there to pay for our college education. And things are going to get worse. And you have to survive at all costs. No matter what you have to do, you must survive. You can't smoke. You can't do drugs. You can't be an alcoholic. You can't have illicit sex and dangerous sex. You have to be the type of person that endures until the end so you can see the sun come out. I pray you understand. Anything else?
Go. And the moon thrice in the day.
And the moon thrice in the day, meaning, oh, it's so much light above. My God. The sun is blazing out. The moon comes out 3 times in a day, which is a metaphor for it is so bright in a place that otherwise was so dark. It was so dark. It was so dismal. There was so much despair. Now the sun is out all day and the moon. The sky is full of light now. And if you can endure until then, you're going to see it at the last trump. When it's over, there will be light. Everyone understands. Anything else?
Go. They said through verse 8.
Where are we at now?
Verse 5.
Keep going.
Verse 5. And blood shall drop out of wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled.
And blood shall drop out of wood. And read that again.
And the stone shall give his voice.
What's your precept? You know it already. Deuteronomy 28, bullet form.
Wooden stone.
Wood and stone. First, you need this precept, all right? And then this is how you know what this is talking about. So we have great despair ending, and the light coming out, signifying knowledge and greatness and wisdom, and the change of things from being very dark to very bright. Right? Come on. Sorry. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
The Most High is talking about our captivity right here. Our captivity. And we're going to go to a strange land and serve a God that our fathers did not serve. Our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they weren't Christians. They weren't Muslims. They weren't Democrats. They weren't Republicans. We're serving gods now that our forefathers did not. That's biblical prophecy. Go ahead.
And there shalt thou serve other gods.
And there we will serve other gods. Our foreparents, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they served the God of Israel. Here, who do we serve here? Some white Jesus.
Right.
Some surfer put up on a cross to make you think that Jesus was white. You serve some white God. I guess back in the day, I would say he looks like George Burns, but I know that none of you will know what in the hell I'm talking about, because that is from an old movie called God, where George Burns was everybody's idea of God. Go look up George Burns, okay? There's a generation of people that thought that was God. And before that, they thought that picture on the Sistine Chapel was what God looked like, an old white man with a long beard. Now we worship new gods, which our fathers did not worship. Go ahead.
Wood and stone.
What are the gods our fathers didn't worship?
Wood and stone.
Who are the new gods that we worship now?
Wood and stone.
Our new gods are wood and stone. What is the wood? The wood is the wooden cross, that old rugged wooden cross. Hallelujah. The wooden cross of so-called Jesus, which is actually Caesar Borgia. the second son of Pope Alexander VI of Rome. That's his picture, put up as the picture of Christ. And the whole world worships this man as if he's Jesus, all because his father was Pope. And when he died, he made everyone worship his son. Wood is talking about the wooden cross. What is the stone? The cobblestone. The cobblestone of Mecca, which every Muslim is commanded to at least one time in his life, make it to Mecca, to circle this stone 5 times and to kiss the stone. It's called the cobblestone. About 200,000 people die sometimes going over there. I think it's about 200,000 people die circling this stone because they trample each other under their feet and they crush each other like at the Travis Scott concert. They crush each other trying to kiss this black stone. What are the 2 major religions on the planet Earth? Christianity and Islam. One based on a wooden cross and the other one based on the cobblestone. Now go back to his precept, it's the last one.
2 Ezra chapter 5 and verse 5. And blood shall drop out of wood.
But when the final trump sounds, that final one is a signifier that it's over. Well, that's the final trump. Great darkness is going to be broken with great light. And then blood is coming out of wood. I pray you understand that. Oh yeah, blood is coming out of wood. Meaning they're going to pay. Christianity is going to pay for what they've done when the sun comes out. When the day begins, at the breaking of the dawn, from such terrible darkness, now the Christians pay. Now it's time for some hell to pay now. Because the sun is out. Because it's a new day. And now blood comes out the stone. Blood comes out the wood. Go ahead.
And the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled.
And the stone shall give his voice. How does the stone give its voice?
People are going to be screaming around the stone.
Screaming. Screaming. Now the stone screams out, please no. Please no. Please forgive me. Salakia, please, I'm sorry. Please, no. No. And the people, go ahead.
And the people shall be troubled.
And now they're troubled. Now these people who oppressed us for thousands of years, without retribution, without justice, now they pay when the sun comes out. With that, pass the class over to police officer done, y'all.
Yahweh,
Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh, Y